Fox News alert, Devon Archer, the man who Hunter Biden once called a Biden, just flipped on the first family. And it's bad. Archer, who's been in Ukrainian board meetings, Chinese dinners, to the Biden family beach house, is saying that Joe Biden was on the phone with Hunter and his foreign business partners at least 20 times. 20 times. Archer says it was to sell the Biden brand. And Hunter described the Biden brand as gold. Here's how it worked. President Barack Obama would assign Joe Biden a country to handle. And when Biden was assigned to a country, a dirty company with a lot of problems in that country would hire Hunter Biden because they needed something from Joe Biden. Hunter would have dinner with some crooked foreign kleptocrat, and in the middle of dinner, he'd say, "Hey, let's call my pop." He'd get his dad on the phone, put it on speaker, and Joe Biden would say hello to Hunter's business partners. And that was what the business partners were paying for, that phone call. They were paying Hunter because he could get Joe Biden on the phone like that. And everywhere Joe went, Hunter got paid. And Joe delivered. Devon Archer told House investigators today that the corrupt Ukrainian gas company, Burisma, only hired Hunter so his father, Joe, could get the prosecutor investigating them fired. Devon Archer testified Hunter was with the crooked Ukrainian CEO when he called D.C. to demand Joe Biden fire the prosecutor. 3 days later, Joe Biden flew to Ukraine and got the prosecutor fired and then bragged about it. This is what Democrats impeached Trump for probing. Devon Archer also testified that Hunter pulled the same move with other fat cat foreign execs. Archer says Hunter put Joe Biden on the phone with his Chinese partner, Jonathan Lee. And remember, Joe Biden flew Hunter to China on Air Force Two, where Hunter met Jonathan Lee. Hunter introduced Joe and Jonathan Lee in Beijing. They shook hands. It was a $20 million handshake. The Bidens made $20 million from that Chinese deal. After Hunter was given an equity stake in the Chinese investment firm, the Obama-Biden administration greased approvals for Jonathan Lee to take over American car manufacturers. Joe Biden, who claims he didn't talk to his son about his business, even wrote a letter of recommendation to Brown University on behalf of Jonathan Lee's daughter. Jonathan Lee is a Communist Party power broker who our vice president went to bat for, helping his daughter cut the line in the admissions offices at Ivy League schools. Why? Because his family was getting paid. Devon Archer also testified that Vice President Joe Biden personally met with a Russian billionaire, Elena Batrina, back in 2014 while VP at Cafe Milano in Georgetown. Joe Biden had dinner with her, and a month later, the Russian billionaire wired Hunter Biden $3.5 million. Now, Democrats say Joe Biden had no idea who he was talking to.
It was clear that it was part of the daily conversations that Hunter Biden had with his father, and it was and sounded like most of the time now President Biden didn't even know who the people he was at dinner. He was just asked to say hello, and he would talk about the way he described it several times. They asked over and over and over. He described what the weather was, what's going on your end.
The Democrats went from the laptop's Russian misinformation to Biden was having dinner with Hunter's business partners, but all they talked about was the weather. Now, when I eat dinner, it's usually at least an hour. I'm there for 3 courses. You can talk weather for maybe 5 minutes tops. But Biden's talking to a Russian billionaire about the weather the whole dinner? What's it like in Moscow? It's cold. Biden's had meetings at Cafe Milano with the Russians, the Ukrainians, the Mexicans, Kazakhstanis, even the Greeks, all Hunter's business partners. You're saying Joe Biden talked about the weather the whole time and had no idea who he was having dinner with? Even if Hunter puts his business partners on speakerphone with his dad and they don't talk business at all, you're saying the next day when Hunter talks to Joe, and they say they talk every day, Joe doesn't say, "Hey, Hunter, what are you doing in Dubai, and who are those Ukrainians you put me on the phone with last night?" Come on. The Biden family was selling access to Joe. The phone call, even if it was weather-related, was the access. And Biden always delivered on the back end. The Chinese and the Ukrainians got what they wanted out of Biden. Even the Russian lady who bribed Hunter $3.5 million, Joe Biden left her off the sanctions list. The one Russian billionaire not on the sanctions list happens to be the same one who paid the Biden family millions of bucks. But the Democrats say, what was Joe Biden supposed to be, rude and not say hello to Hunter's corrupt foreign business partners?
Clearly he talked, whether it's about the weather or whatever, but he said specifically that he's never talked to them. Doesn't this contradict?
He never said that he has never spoken to anyone. He said that he had nothing to do with Hunter Biden's business dealings. If he says hello to someone that he sees his son with, is he supposed to say, hi, son? Oh, no, I'm not going to say hello to the other people at the table or the other people on the phone. It's kind of a preposterous premise to think that a father should not say hello to people that the son are at dinner with.
So the new defense is Biden's missed manners. Snubbing his son's sniveling and conniving foreign business partners would be the wrong thing to do. Now, we know that Hunter Biden brought his sleazy business partners to the Obama White House over 100 times. So Joe Biden never asked Hunter, who are all these people? The only thing he asked was, what's the weather like in Bucharest? I mean, at this point, Joe knows more about the weather than Al Roker. So, why did Devon Archer flip? Well, because he's going to prison. And he thought, you know, being Hunter's best buddy would keep him out of prison. Devon Archer can't be too happy with Hunter Biden right now. Here's a text he sent to Hunter. Why did your dad's administration appointees arrest me and try to put me in jail? Just curious, some of our partners asking out here. And then this one. Why would they try and ruin my family and destroy my kids and no one from your family side step in and at least try to help me? I don't get it. Devon Archer was sentenced to a year in prison for stealing $60,000 from an Indian tribe. I think it was more than that. Hunter Biden was a part of that deal and was the only one not to get indicted. Once again, everybody in Biden's orbit arrested, in prison, or they're missing. And before Devon Archer's testimony, Biden's Department of Justice sent a threatening letter to Devon Archer's judge telling him it's time for Devon to report to prison soon. This comes on the heels of us learning about another House Republican that says Biden's got foreign bank accounts. They're under investigation. Listen.
When we pulled up the first tranche of suspicious activity reports, of which there were more than 170, we then realized that there are more suspicious activity reports on more Biden family members and more information that we've got to dig into and investigate. What we have to do, and we're in the process of now, is accumulating bank records, not just here domestically, but there are bank records in foreign countries with foreign banks that we also have to get. That takes money and time, which we are doing and trying to collect that information.
Sources tell Primetime that lawyers on House oversight, they're not going on vacation like the rest of Congress for the next 6 weeks. They're still subpoenaing Biden family bank records. And now they're moving into the deposition phase of the investigation. Devon Archer won't be the first Biden business associate that's going to be interviewed. Tony Bobulinski and Whitey Bulger's relative, James Bulger, will sit down for interviews. Several federal employees knowledgeable of the Biden situation will sit down with investigators. And we expect, when Congress returns to work in mid-September, that the House will have enough evidence to begin the impeachment inquiry. Now, opening an impeachment inquiry turbocharges congressional oversight powers, allowing them to, fast-track and have far-reaching subpoena power and quick court rulings. Now, this will force the media to cover the evidence that we've presented here for years. And it'll force Joe Biden, who's supposed to be out campaigning, to answer questions about why he's been lying for all these years. This could potentially end Joe Biden's reelection campaign. So Democrats have a decision to make. Are they going to get behind Gavin Newsom? Or are they going to continue to say Joe Biden's a weatherman?